La voz de Rotary.
Soy Rotario.
Líderes unidos
Líderes empresariales y profesionales.
Esto es la voz de
unidos
Rotary Sin
mundialmente.
Fronteras.
La
con
voz
Gonzalo
de
Zatra
Rotary.
Vivanco.
Esto es La voz de Rotary. Iniciamos.
Hello, John. Welcome to La Voz de Rotary Sin Fronteras. We are very happy having you here today. As past District 4170 Governor 2000-2001, and having been recognized by past international President Frank Devlin as the leader in increasing membership of the generation, create awareness and take action. The issue of continuity is very important in two directions. Increasing membership to be labeled to do more, and in service projects, as Shekhar Mehta also stressed in his recent interview here in La Voz de Rotary Sin Fronteras, grow more, do more. John, in your opinion, as international past president and having walked all the ranks and more, what does Rotary look like from 1976 to 2022?
Well, Rotary is an ever-changing organization. You know, we change leaders every year, and we also bring in members every year, and we lose some members every year. If we could just get each of us to ask one person to become a Rotarian, think about the great impact that that would have on our world with the projects that we can do, the funds that we can raise through the Rotary Foundation, and the good that can be done in the world. You know, this year, President Shekhar has had the theme of change lives, and anything that Rotary does and what we touch, whether it would be the COVID situation that we've been involved with, or whether it would be the Ukraine situation or polio or the environment or any of our 7 areas of focus, Rotary is truly changing lives, and we need more people to help us change those lives.
John, talk about the fund efforts in the final stage of End Polio Now, that the statistics of the presence of such a terrible stretch of humanity in the world.
Well, you know, it was Rotary, excuse me, that started this back in 1979. We started with $750,000 to do a grant, and several countries applied for that grant. And we vaccinated 6 million children in the Philippines and paid for that. And that started something. And then we've had stumbling blocks along the way that the World Health Alliance and everyone said that we couldn't do this, and they wouldn't join Rotary in this program. So Rotary took it upon themselves to set a goal in 1985, after we knew that the work that was done in the Philippines was successful, to raise $120 million. Fundraising people said we could not raise $120 million. If we did raise $120 million, we couldn't collect it all, and we wouldn't do it in a short period of time. Well, they were wrong, because Rotary is tenacious, Rotary is persistent, and Rotary works to keep their promises. So we raised $247 million, and then the Global Polio Eradication Initiative was formed, with Rotary being the lead partner in there, with WHO, UNICEF, and CDC. And in November of 2007, I believe it was, is that when the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation said they would give us $100 million, and $100 million, and they sent $100 million to the Rotary Foundation to be used for polio. Now, the interesting thing about that contribution is that they asked us to spend that money by December the 31st of 2008. And then they asked us to raise $100 million by June the 30th of 2010. those are two very interesting points in the fact that we were to spend their money before we ever raised any money. So that's the trust that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation had in Rotary, and knowing that we were committed to the eradication of polio. We were almost halfway there when the Gates Foundation came back and said, we'll give you another 100 if you will agree to raise another 100, but do it by 2012. We raised 228.7. You see, Rotarians are committed to being sure children are safe and not crippled or die from this wild polio virus that we have. We still have an agreement with the Gates Foundation, and it went through 2022, that for every dollar that we raised up to 50 million, they would double that to Rotary in order to do the polio eradication. We have just agreed to another 3-year extension, which would go through 2026, which is when we believe the new plan will say that the world is polio free. The goal is to have the wild polio virus and the vaccine virus eliminated by the end of 2023. And then we would have the world declared polio free in 3 years later, which is 2026. We've made great progress. We are now we're down to 2 countries, started with 125 countries, and we're now down to 2 countries, Afghanistan, Pakistan. We have 1 case in Afghanistan so far this year, and we have 10 cases in Pakistan. Now, the area in Pakistan that we have these cases is the area we have not been able to reach in the past. So we have got to continue this program. We are closing out our this year, and we still need some money for this year. So people still have a few days to get, 1 day actually, to get any DDF in. Rotarians have been very generous with their cash out of their pockets, and also the district's given district designated funds in order to help eradicate polio. We are making progress. Do we have setbacks? Yes, we have some setbacks. Are we going to overcome those? Yes, we are, as we have in the past. When India was about to be declared polio free, and we thought that was going to be the last country really that ever be polio free, they went for almost 2 years, but then they had an outbreak. They're now polio free, have been since 2013, 14. So Nigeria, they went a year and a half. They had a setback. They had to go again another 3 years. They're now polio free, and all of Africa is polio free. So we do have to remember, though, it's kind of like this COVID virus that we've had. It can go anywhere, and we say it's a plane ride away, and it really truly is. And the war in Ukraine is affecting us some. COVID affected us because our healthcare workers could not go door to door. And what we have to do is go door to door to put those 2 drops in those children's mouth.
After all this Rotary impact, I surely must ask, how did the extraordinary idea of convening great donors come about, like inviting Bill Gates?
Well, you don't get money unless you ask for it. And Bill Gates told me one time, I asked him, I said, why did you give this money to Rotary? You could have given it to UNICEF or the WHO. You could have given it to anybody you wanted to, the governments and those. He said, because Rotary has the passion, Rotary has dedication, and Rotary has boots on the ground. This virus could not have been stopped if we hadn't had Rotarians on the ground willing to pay their own transportation, go to these different countries, and to work these national immunization days or sub-immunization days to put those 2 drops in a child's mouth. It just would not have been possible. So yes, we've asked a lot of people for money. Sometimes we get money, sometimes we don't. But you can't stop because you have a setback.
Do you have any strategy to look for or to find some donors or to invite them to be part of Rotary or to give their help?
Yeah, one of the things that we have subcommittees, and one of our subcommittees is called the National Advocacy Committee for the United States. And we are working with the United States government. They don't give their money to Rotary, but they do give their money to USAID, to CDC in order to help eradicate polio. We have committees all around the world, and Judy Demuth from England is chair of those committees, and we're trying to get the governments in order to provide money into the eradication of polio. It cost us over 900 million US dollars per year to eradicate polio. So you can see how that's a big project. The other thing we're trying to do is to get the local governments in order to provide routine immunizations, which includes the polio injectable vaccine. So yes, we're trying to get the governments to pick up their slack and to pick up their thing. And some of these governments are very weak and they can't do it. But on the other hand, I think everybody could do a little part. You know, I believe that when you put your own money into something, you have what I call skin in the game. That means that you're committed to making this happen. And that's what we're trying to do with governments around the world.
Wonderful. Now, End Polio Now is practically the last part of a great service international project. So in your opinion, which is your idea about continuity in Rotary? Gonzalo said there are two directions, one increasing membership and the other one continuing service projects.
I think we have to do both. I think that we have to continue to increase membership, and we have to go after a diverse membership. We have to go after younger members, and we have to go after those that recently retired because they have time and money. The service projects are identified by Rotarians. They see the needs in their community. And, you know, we can go out our front door and walk down through town or the community we live in, and we can see people that cannot read the prescription bottles of the medicine they're taking. Well, we can do something about that. You know, we have 7 areas of focus within the Rotary Foundation, and if we worked in those 7 areas, we can make this world a better place. And then we have these situations come up like COVID. When it came up, through the Rotary Foundation, we spent over 40 million US dollars in order to help provide personal protection equipment, to help man vaccination spots around by helping direct traffic, providing water, food, and stuff. Well, Ukraine, we spent over $15.3 million in cash that has been donated just for helping those refugees in Ukraine. We're also providing vaccine and helping to vaccinate people as they come out of Ukraine when we identify the fact that they have not had their shots lately or had not had the polio vaccine lately. So, yeah, we have to have both. Rotary would not flourish without members because that becomes the passion of people and we wouldn't do service projects if it wasn't fulfilling the passion that the Rotarians have in order to improve their community. You know, my theme when I was president back in 2016-17 was Rotary serving humanity. And that's what we do. We can't think of a thing that we do in our community that's not serving someone else. And that's why our 7 areas of focus, and especially the one we added last year, was the environment. The 7th area became the environment. And we know how important that is. So, yes, it's our responsibility as citizens and as Rotarians in order to make the world better.
Yes, indeed. Oh, well, precisely your motto, your year motto was Rory serving humanity, and it is a very beautiful motto. So please share with us from where came the idea or the inspiration to create it.
Every year, the nominating committee meets meets. Well, they're meeting online now, but they used to meet in Evanston, and they would select a person to serve as president of Rotary International. And when I was selected, you have to wait until October the 1st to be sure you're not going to be challenged before they can declare you the president nominee. Then you go to Evanston, and then they say, okay, there's three things we need to know right away from you. One, are you going to have a themed jacket? Two, what is going to be your theme? Three, who's going to be the moderator for the training that takes place at the International Assembly? And then there's a list of things, and they have a schedule of when you're supposed to have this. And I said, well, I can tell you, yes, we're going to have a jacket because that identifies the class and it makes you a separate class from everybody else as far as identification is concerned. Yeah. And I said, my theme is going to be Rotary serving humanity. And they said, well, where did you come up with that? I said, tell me what else Rotary does. We're in the people business. We're trying to help people. People are humanity. So I said, it's Rotary serving humanity. And I was in the JCs before that, and before I became a Rotarian, and one line of the JC Creed talks about service and talks about the best work of life is serving other people. And I believe that. I believe that God put each of us on earth with certain talents, and he expected us to use those talents to help other people.
Yes, something marvelous in your year was that incredible symbol that spread this close. Tell us about it.
When we started the polio campaign back in 1988, after we'd had the fund drive in 1985 to 88 to raise the 120 million, we got the 247. There was 1,000 cases per day, 125 different countries. Now that was children that were being infected with this virus. So as we moved along, with the number of countries went down, the number of cases went down, and so it came up with this close because, you know, you start this way out here, then now you're down to this way, then it gets a little bit closer and a little bit closer. So it is closer, and we're 99.9% there, or 99.95, something like that percent there, and we're going to make it. So that's how it came up with this close, and that's why they wrote this close in between your two fingers there. And people are still using that. Yes. But the biggest thing we're using right now is this pen here that says "End Polio Now."
Okay, and well, the romantic side of Rotary. Everybody knows Judy and you are a great team. Tell us about the importance of the participation of women in Rotary and the proactive attitude.
Women are important. Women are important in Rotary, just as young people are important and men are important in Rotary. Everyone is important to Rotary. My wife is not she's an honorary Rotarian in about 3 Rotary clubs, but we call her a non-dues paying Rotarian. But she traveled the world with me and she works on projects and everything. You have to have support from your family. If you don't have the support from your family, you will not succeed in Rotary. I don't care if you're the district governor, you're the president of the club, or you're president of Rotary International, you have to have the support. And I think Rotary has come a long way. As you know, that in the year 22-23, we will have our first female president of Rotary International. Now, she was not chosen. I know Jennifer extremely well, and she would tell you this. She did not want to be chosen because she was a female. She wanted to become chosen because she was the best Rotarian at the time to be president of Rotary International. We have got to become more diverse. We are an organization that's expansive, and we can accomplish more if we had more members. So it is extremely important that we have a diverse membership. It's extremely important that we get different nationalities, different sexes, all involved in Rotary as we move Rotary forward for the future. When I was a director back in 2003, we had 24 districts in the 2 zones that I was selected from, and 8 of those districts had women as governors. And I said, if we want to build a strong relationship, what we have to do is we have to do a global grant together. And I said, if each of you will put up $1,000 US, then I'll put in $1,000, and then we'll go to the Rotary Foundation. You identify projects. We'll go to the Rotary Foundation, and we'll get matching funds out of the Rotary Foundation, and we build a team. You see, I believe together everyone achieves more. We cannot do it by ourselves. We have to have a team, and that team not only includes our family, but it includes a broader group of Rotarians in order to do these projects. So we can do what we want to if we set our mind to it. I've often said we are limited by 2 things: our imagination or our lack of it. And Jennifer's theme this year, Imagine Rotary, is just fantastic. I mean, we can accomplish anything that we want to do if we'll put our hearts and souls into it.
John, about the other things, how much money did you send to Ukraine?
We have had cash contributions to the Ukraine Disaster Relief Fund of over $15.3 million. That does not include the grants that came from people around districts around there. We are still giving out funds for the districts surrounding Ukraine there. What is happening in Ukraine is a devastation. It was unnecessary. It's a person trying to show power that they don't need to be doing. But yes, we're trying to help them every way we can. We have sent ambulances there. We've sent fire engines there. We've sent medicines there and everything. So, the key to all of that is, what do the people, the refugees, need? And a lot of them are leaving and probably will never go back to Ukraine. There's a lot of them being scattered all over Europe. There's going to be some that are coming to the United States, and we've got to do what we can to help them. They didn't ask for this. It's not their own making, and we need to do what we can to help them. So there was $15.3 million that came in on very short notice, and we are trying to spend all of that by using it the best way we can.
John, I'm sure you have lived an extraordinary moment in Rory. Could you share one special one that you keep in your mind, in your heart?
I can do more than one, but the one, since you asked for one, I went to Nigeria to do a polio vaccination, National Immunization Day. Got in about midnight, landed in Kano, Nigeria, and they took me to the hotel and said, we're going to pick you up at 6 o'clock. We got there about 2 o'clock, and they said, we will go to an NID. We're going to meet with the health minister. That health minister, when we met with him, and I had a book of the 100 Years of Rotary with me. And so when I met with him, they said that we could not do vaccines in Kano, Nigeria, because it was a plot to sterilize the girl child so there'd be no more Muslims. It was causing cancer, all those excuses. And I said, well, why don't you just get your vaccine from Indonesia? It's the largest Muslim country in the world. So why don't I just get your vaccine from them? Well, with that, we said our goodbyes and left. But we went to a town called Zamfara. It's a state in Nigeria, Zamfara. And the president of the country brought his grandchild to receive the vaccine. And then we went and had this big long table out in front of us. And this lady was in line, and I was behind the table, and she was on the other side. And she had her daughter with her. That daughter was very young. And you squeeze the mouth and you put 2 drops in. When we got through, she looked at me and I looked at her. I didn't speak her language. She didn't speak my language. But we both smiled because we knew we had done something. She had brought her child and I had put 2 drops in it, knowing that that helped that child not be crippled. I'll never forget that. Then we went out into the rural community where the houses were with grass roofs, small, working together could accomplish a polio-free world.
Tell us, John, the magic of a smile in Rory.
Well, that's a common language. When you're smiling at each other, just like both of y'all are smiling now and everything, it says we're friends. We're going to work together. We're going to accomplish a better and safer world. So that's what it's about. It's happiness for what has happened. And it's happiness for what we're doing and going to do.
Something you missed, or there's something you wanted to do?
Yes, on the 30th of June at midnight, my term is up as the trustee chair, and I will roll off of the trustees because we serve 4-year terms. I'm still going to be involved with polio eradication. We are creating a peace center in the Middle East and North Africa, and I'm going to be involved with that. So I'm sure that I'll still be involved in a lot of things as we continue. My passion is to help people. My passion is to make a better world, and that's what we're going to try to do.
Congratulations. It's wonderful. I truly admire you because you are a great and powerful man, great strength and very beautiful feelings.
Well, thank you. I just left Guadalajara about, I guess it was 3 weeks ago now, and we're doing our district. We have the Heart of America program that we're doing several districts there. We've done districts in Mexico City. We've done, not districts, but we've done grants there too. So we're very involved with doing that. And you can see whether it's planting a tree that I did several years ago and that's still living today because it gets proper water and everything. But how much that does for the landscape. You can see the cancer center that we help fund equipment for, and the telemedicine, where we hook up with Cleveland Clinic or St. Jude's Hospital to help identify the type of cancer some of these kids have and how much that's helping and everything. And we're now going to be working on some kidney stuff and everything. So there's just so many needs out there that we can just have a little small part in making their lives better. So we're going to stay involved with Rotary. It's a passion, and it's kind of like you get hooked on it and you just got to stay with it,
John, we are beginning the new year, 2022, 2023. Tell us a message for all Rotarians.
You know, the Rotary starts at the club level. It don't start at the top. And we need to encourage every Rotarian to think, what is it that I can do in order to make my community better? And then take that to the club and say, here's an idea. What can we as a club do to make our community better? And if it's something that involves a grant, you go to the district and you get the district involved. So you start with one idea, but every person that joins Rotary, if you get involved with Rotary, you will get more out of it than you're going to put into it. And you'll change the world one child at a time. One school, to have girls being able to go to school because you built toilets in India or in Mexico, where or all these third world countries where people can have the girl go to school. I've said, if you educate a man, you educate a boy, you educate a person. If you educate a girl, you educate a family. So that's what we need to do. The better educated we are as citizenry, the better the world is. So my motivation would be, do what you can do to help make some life better. And if you don't care who gets the credit, you'll get more done. And work as a team. Together, everyone achieves more.
John, in Rotary, you will always be remembered as the international president whose leadership contributed exponentially to fundraising, fight for and polio now, and for Rotary serving humanity. John, we thank you being in La Voz de Rotary Sin Fronteras, sharing your Rotarian experience as international past president with us, with that wonderful motto, Rotary serving humanity, and the great word, service project and end polio now. Remember, here in Mexico, Gonzalo and Sandra Vivanco are your best friends.
Well, I thank you very much for letting me have this opportunity. And I look forward to continuing to working with you to be sure that we can continue to serve humanity.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
We
Thank you
will.
very much.
Thank you.
La Voz de Rotary.
Soy Rotario. Líderes unidos
Líderes
mundialmente.
empresariales y profesionales
Esto es La Voz de
unidos
Rotary Sin
mundialmente.
Fronteras.
La
con
Voz
Gonzalo
de
y Sandra
Rotary.
Vivanco.